A fanzine is, well, obviously the fan part implies that it's made by fans, and the zine part would imply that it's a magazine. It's small press, you know, it's underground media. It doesn't necessarily have to be about music. There's all different types of fanzines.
Fanzines, or zines as they're now commonly known, are small publications done for love, not money. Each zine is designed for a specific and limited readership. Frustrated with the mainstream media, writers have taken publishing into their own hands.
This is a really good one from like the mid-80s. This is just about splatter movies. But it's the same thing, just a real irreverent, upfront attitude written by somebody who loves what they're writing about. The thing that I'm always drawn to with fanzines is just sort of the irreverence and the degree of sort of, you know, passion that's in there. I'm not really interested in reading just straight reportage of what's going on, you know, because you've got all the straight newspapers to do that side of it.
I want to start doing that more in the middle anyway.
Yeah. Insane Old Game.
Insane Old Game.
Do Insane Old Game, then the brand new one. To Tunes to Hate.
Tunes to Hate, yeah.
Straight until morning.
Yeah, straight until morning.
The song called Insane Old Game.
As a member of the rock band The Powder Monkeys, Tim Hemensley has been the subject of many fanzine articles. But it's not this experience that makes him an authority on zines. When he was only 9, Tim started publishing his own zine called Punk Purge.
I was able to get it printed because my father did poetry magazines in the 70s, and he had and in the 80s too, and he had a Xerox machine, and my dad would type this stuff up on, you know, on these stencils, and my mum would run it off. Yeah, this is number 4, and it was just sort of, as you can see up here, I'm now 10. This is the January 1982 issue, where I expanded to, what is it, two full double-sided pages. I just distributed it myself. I just went around to the shops that were around then, which were pretty much the same shops that are around now. You know, there's a few more these days, and it seemed to be harder to find the shops which sold fanzines and sold independent records in those days. But, you know, I found all these places, and I just go around and sell them.
Tim still remembers securing an interview with perhaps America's most controversial punk band when they toured Australia.
Well, I interviewed the Dead Kennedys in 1983. They were far more willing to grant an interview to an 11-year-old doing a fanzine than they were to someone from the straight media. You know, they did a press conference for all the straight media, but they did, you know, individual interviews with, in-depth interviews with people who did fanzines in this country. So, I mean, perhaps it's sort of miraculous that I was that age, but it wasn't too out of the ordinary for bands on that level in that time to have a lot of respect for fanzines, you know. And this is my final issue, which had the Dead Kennedys interview in it. There's Darren Pallegro, the drummer, and after that I interviewed Jello, and I never got around to printing the interview with Jello by Afra, unfortunately.
Tim says unlike fanzines, mainstream pop culture magazines and newspapers lack depth. He says these publications are driven not by youthful opinion, but advertising dollars.
I think they're a disgrace. I think they're an absolute joke. They're corrupt. They just serve the people who are hip that week. You've got to have fanzines. You've got to have some kind of counterculture sort of media, because those magazines are just, you know, they just print the press releases from the record companies. They just print articles on bands that buy advertising in their papers. They're just big advertising.
But even if you do have a counterculture sort of media, it doesn't mean you will always be happy with what you read.
We often get slagged off. We're slagged off by the straight media and we're slagged off by a lot of fanzines, you know. I mean, if you're a public figure, you've got to accept it, unfortunately. No, it's fortunately. You know, you can only take the good with the bad, you know. I mean, a zine like Year Zero, for example, did a review which appeared to be a slag piece. I mean, it had a personal attack on me.
Yeah, Tim's an arrogant prick and a loudmouth little shit. But in the realms of rock, such traits are totally admirable.
But it was one of the best reviews I've read of the Powder Monkeys because at least they understood what the band was about.
Well, the Powder Monkeys are never going to set my world on fire or do anything I'd herald as a work of genius, but in the realms of obnoxious punk rock, this fills the craving more than adequately.
You know, a lot of fanzines are very self-indulgent, you know, and I mean, it is just the editors, the person who's writing the fanzine, it's just their opinion usually. But it's really important because it's our own media. This is media that's coming from us, not from them.
Attitude returns next Saturday at 7:30. When there's murder in the air, you'll find Dawn French sniffing around for clues in Murder Most Horrid, Monday nights at 9:30. Stay tuned now for Frontline.